Hey, FanboyNation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
You're watching
Fanboy.
Fanboy,
fanboy, etc.
FanboyNation.
Dot, I assume Tom.
All right, Devin Dugan, congratulations. You are coming up on your Baker dozen of years with Improv City, a great facility here in Tustin, California. First time I came here was a couple of weeks ago. I had been hearing about it for years from my friend Akram. He's like, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. And then when I wanted to come, you guys moved, from Irvine to Tustin. Take us back to year one, and I believe you guys were over a bowling alley.
Not year one, actually. Year one, well, we started out as a group of friends in March of 2009 in a garage in Aliso Viejo. And then I was teaching improv to kids down at a dance studio there, which was like out of a garage. And then I said, hey, let's just get together. We did it. And by July of that same year, I'm like, we're not that bad. Let's just put on a show for friends and family. What the heck? I was the only one that had been doing it for like years, and everyone was like, I don't know. Yeah, let's just do a show. So we did a show. Everyone had so much fun doing it. We're like, let's do another one. We're like, all right, cool. So we did another one a month later, and we just started doing one monthly. It was actually where we are now, right across this parking structure over there. The place was called the Gallery of Performing Arts, which is no longer there, but it's a nice little venue. And we just did monthly shows there. Eventually, we ended up moving to a couple different locations over the years, but that was our main one. Then we went to Irvine Lanes. We were there for, several years, probably 7, 8, 9 years. I don't remember. It was a long time. And then COVID hit. We were always like, well, it was a fun while it lasted. So we'll see what happens. And then we ended up just getting lucky. I was walking by this building one day, looked inside. I thought, that'd be a nice place to have a theater. On a whim, I just called. I found out who owned the business. I called. She's like, well, I left. Here's the guy who owns the place. Called him, left him a message, said, hey, just out of curiosity, what's the rent? Didn't hear back from him for almost a week, so I just had forgotten about it. Called me back, said, hey, are you the guy that called? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, okay. Started talking, explained what we were. Said, that sounds great, let's meet. And we worked out a deal, and here we are. So we really, it was a series of fortunate events.
Well, it seems wonderful, and like the fact when I walked in, you had staff members that were greeting us when we walked in. The DJ, and then everybody, even the players that are a part of Improv City. We didn't know at first because no one was wearing their bowling shirt or anything, but everybody was just so kind to everyone in the facility. And then I meet you behind the bar, and you're like, oh, I'm one of the co-owners. The other guy over there, he's one of the co-owners. I was like, oh, the guy that greeted everybody? That's fantastic, because people in the arts can sometimes have an ego. Yeah. And sometimes it's a vicious ego that's unwarranted. And here you guys treated everybody with great respect, and almost like, not necessarily family, but like a high school reunion where, if not like, showing off of like, oh, well, I'm a doctor now, but in the sense of like, this was my core group of friends and we all got together after this while. And the fact that there was a regular who comes in, and he was talking about how much he loved the place, almost to the fact that he sounded like he was buying it. So congratulations on all that and creating that atmosphere. Was that something that was the goal initially, to create that atmosphere?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm as you can tell by the tattoos on my arms, little comedians and all the stuff on the wall and the statues. So I grew up watching old vaudeville comedians. They're my idols and stuff, which was always the clean comedy, the funny comedy, and just learning about all of them. And one of the things is I've always come to learn is like you can't do what you do without the audience. They have to be there. Like there's no art without someone appreciating it, And there's this one story I'm just going to share this with you really quick that always stuck in my head. I don't even know who Red Skelton was. Okay, yeah, so many people nowadays don't, unfortunately. And he was one of the biggest comedians of the 40s, and he would do these shows for like thousands of people, right? And at the end of every show, he would stand outside the door, sometimes for like 2-3 hours, and personally thank every single person for coming to a show. That would be like Jerry Seinfeld doing that today. Like it just wouldn't happen. It'd stand there for 3 hours after performing and doing. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. Like he was just like, you can't have it. And it was one of those things that always kind of stuck with me. And I I just love performing. I don't obviously don't do it for the money. I just like making people laugh. It makes me feel good. It just and I enjoy it, and that's what it's about. Especially, I think there's so many times in my life when people have come up to me and like, oh my God, like, it's just like these stories that they tell you about how you changed their life or you just made their day or something, and it's just completely wonderful, and that really is the tone that I've always wanted to set. And when people come in here and become part of our group, I tell them, I said, you know what? I said, once you walk through those doors, I said, I don't care what your race is, I don't care what your gender is, your political view, your orientation, I don't care. I said, you come through those doors, your family. And that's just how it's always been.
Well, I mean, even the show that I saw, there was an Arab lady that was on the show. There was a Latin American man that was there. One of your co-owners, I believe he was South Asian. So there was just this giant group of international people sitting together, but none of it was ever pointed out. Like the way we watch movies today, they have to hammer it home of, like Miss Marvel, for example. I don't know if you've seen the first 2 episodes.
I haven't, but I want to watch it.
My friend and I were discussing it. He loved it, and I was just like, it's Pakistani jazz singer. Like, it's the first generation immigrant that hates being, their ethnicity, and they want to be, very American. And then, they disappoint the family, and they upset their religion, and all this. I was like, it was very much just a rehash of the jazz singer, the first 2 episodes. So that's what bothered me. And and my family's from the Middle East, so of course, I just like let us just be type deal. I didn't need a close up of the naan bread essentially from this show, but it had to work for some people because they're unfamiliar. So I understand that. And you didn't have that, or you don't have that with your audience. Just go out and make us laugh, whether it's an ethnic joke for your own expense, whether it's your own identity, whether it's your own, if you have Tourette's or if you have anxiety or if you have whatever. People are playing to that in your shows, and I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's about the story we're telling, not about the people who are telling it. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. And now you have, well, at least this year, I don't know if you've done it before, at least maybe before COVID, but you have a kids camp this summer, and you offer improv classes as well as a drop-in class on Mondays. So how did the evolution of the programs come into it when it initially started in the garage of just a bunch of friends trying to make each other laugh?
Yeah, I guess I'll go back to the beginning. Like I said, we were doing a show every month, right? And eventually we got to the point where we said, well, we started doing a show every other Saturday. And then we started doing a show every Saturday. And then we started doing a show Fridays and Saturdays. Then we added a second Saturday show. Then we added a second Friday show. Then we added a Thursday. Then we added a Sunday. Then we added so it really has been, it just kind of snowballed. And honestly, like I'm so grateful and so fortunate because like I've been doing improv for it'll be 28 years in November, and I had never once thought in my life I'm going to be the owner of an improv company. It was never a goal of mine. I said I was just meeting with friends. Let's just get together, have a good time. And everything just kind of just like bloop, 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 just dropped. I'm like, oh, okay, well, here I am. Sometimes I look at it like, how did this happen? This was not supposed to be my life plan, but I love it though. And yeah, as far as the classes and stuff goes, we have an ImprovCity High program, which we do. We work with a lot of after-school programs, a lot of high schools. We go as far as West Covina even. And we do stuff with many different high schools. We have a kids camp that we do. We have an ImprovCity after school with like smaller elementary kids. Our drop-in classes are on Monday nights. We have level classes like a 101, 201, 301. We have long form classes, sketches, all different stuff. And just again, now that we've been here, we've been really able to offer a lot more. It's always been a goal once we started ImprovCity to be able to offer more classes. Back when we were at the bowling alley, we were limited by the space they could provide us at the time. So we did offer Monday night classes, which was drop-ins, but that was pretty much it. Every so often, if we could book a block of time, we'd be like, okay, let's just do like a 6-week group here of class, but it was so few and far between. But now here it's been fantastic because we have more availability, more classes, and we've really been building a nice community here. And it's been so fun. And so many of our students coming through and just saying how they have this has become a second home to them. I love that. We've had some students who've already have gotten into the professional troupe at this point. So it's been a beautiful picture being painted here with education of improv and everything else.
It seems that Orange County has become kind of this hidden gem for comedy. You guys are here in Tustin. There's a small room called the Rec Room in Huntington Beach for stand-up comedy. There's, and the bar shows that are coming about and things of that sort. Why did it take so long for Orange County to catch up to comedy, or are people just starting to finally wake up to it as a scene here?
I think they're starting to wake up to it. I think I did stand up for many years as well too, or toured and stuff like that too. And Orange County, I think, has always been a hotbed of comedy, but I think it was just overshadowed by LA. And I think what I personally think is, I think when the COVID hit and everything shut down, LA was still closed for a long time. Nobody could do anything up there. Like, we were like, at one point, we were the only place open in improv, like in Southern California, and people from LA were coming down here just because of a little bit looser restrictions stuff that they had, and I think people just, comics is coming down, and people realize, oh, there's a ton of venues down here and stuff. So I think that's a part of it as of now. Pre-COVID, it was always there, but I just think everything was so overshadowed by LA, LA. And unfortunately, COVID, caused the closure of a lot of comedy places, especially up in LA, especially a lot of improv places in LA that have not reopened. So it's sad in a sense for that instance. I would hate when anything comedy is not available anymore, or any arts or entertainment. But for the perspective of where we are in Orange County, I think it's great that people are realizing there's other avenues and outlets that people can go to.
The world has become so divided, like to the point of, if I disagree with one point that you've made, our friendship's over for some reason. How do we relearn to laugh again in this, especially now that the world is opening up? I mean, I understand the severity of people have passed away in the last 2 years. I understand that there are people that have had it and recovered instantaneously. The symptoms vary so much that you can't say it's black or white. And even politically, we've gone that way. But how do we allow ourselves to laugh again?
I think it's more of a not how do we learn to laugh again. I think it's that we need to laugh again. I think it's more of that. And I think people, I mean, universally, there's always this thing where, like, it's just when people share a laugh, it's a bonding moment. Like, something was said, we both reacted to it the same way, we mirrored each other on that, boom, we shared this connection, I think, and our defenses went down in that moment. We weren't thinking of all our political views or whatever it was at that point. We're jointed in this happy moment we shared together, and I think that is what it is. I don't really think, like I said, I don't think we need to learn how to laugh again. I think we just need it. We need to laugh. I think people want to laugh. People want to forget about the political climate, because it's so tense out there. As like I say, when you walk through these doors, it's like, leave it out there. This is a place for us to have a fleeting memory of time. Like, that's the beautiful thing about improv, is like it's a one-time thing. That's this show that you see here, the night you come, is the only time that show will ever be done. And it's interesting in the fact, like, we'll do a 3-minute improv scene or a 7-minute improv scene, and that's it. It's gone forever. But sometimes that 3-minute scene that we did will last a lifetime in people's memories, which is crazy, So, and I think that's the thing, is people want that. They want that forgetfulness for just a while, to share a humanity of coming together with each other.
And I came on a Sunday show, and you gave us an hour and a half of that. There was the main show, which was roughly 55 minutes.
It's 90 minutes.
90.
With a 10-minute intermission.
Okay. Because there was the second show that was a part of the ticket, that was the long form thing. So
and that's a 25-minute show.
So just the balance of it is 2 hours on a Sunday night to sit there and put it all together. I mean, I said it was 55 minutes because that's how fast it flew by. So if it's like short film. I always say this to filmmakers. If a short film is really good, you want more of it. And if it's really bad, those 8 minutes feel like 8 hours. And so when you made 90 minutes feel like 55, that's quite enjoyable for the audience.
Yeah.
When you decided to decorate this place, you have a lot of black walls. Like, you have ImprovCity in white on the main stage with a black backdrop. What was the intent of having that color scheme for an improv place?
Really, there's no intent behind it. It's just the colors of our logo. My brother-in-law, he actually made our logo here that you see, and it was just black and white, and it's just always just kind of became our colors just based off of that. So there was really no intention behind it. if there was any, and again, there wasn't, but if there was any way deep back in the mind, again, my old vaudeville sense kicked in of like, I just like black and white films and stuff. So maybe that's what it was. I don't know. But I think it's just really, that's just what the colors of our logo are.
like with things that you're doing, would you guys ever consider like having a movie night or something, you know, where like you do like classic silent films or something like that, just for the audience to come kick back as like an after party thing?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff that I have on our agenda and things that I want to do. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it. We're slow in a weird way. We're slowly kind of becoming trapped by our own success. We're like, we have so many shows we're putting on now, so many classes we're putting on now, that now our times are getting more and more limited again. Well, where can we do this? Where can we do this kind of thing? But we have done some other stuff. I say we have a cabaret night that we do here last Tuesday at the end of the month. We did a staged play reading here. So we do other different types of things. You know, we also rent out our facility for like private events and, you know, stuff like that. So, but it's really just a matter of now balancing the schedule of where can we fit these other things in that we want to do. And we just hope that, you know, eventually, you know, if things hopefully continue as they are, we'll just continue to grow, and hopefully if we ever, you know, outgrow this space, which, you know, and if we do, we do. We don't, we don't. I'm just happy we have a place to perform. But there's a lot of things on the agenda we're going to try to get to. If we don't, we don't.
But the fact that like you never thought that you'd have an improv troupe yourself.
No, it was never an attempt. I'm originally from Wisconsin. I moved out to California because I was doing comedy back throughout the Midwest and stuff. Came out here just to play with the big boys. I was living in LA for a while doing stand-up, improv, Second City, all these different things. And that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to perform comedy. It's improv, stand-up, sketch, whatever. And like I said, it just kind of, one thing happened, which led to another thing, which led to another thing. And the next thing I know, it just what it became. So I've been very blessed, very fortunate to have this happen, and I appreciate it every single day, and I appreciate everyone, the good and the bad, that have, along the journey that has happened. So, you know, because we wouldn't have got to where we are today without everything that's happened.
What happens if it ever stops being fun?
I don't know. I never thought about that. That's the beauty of improv. It's different every time. You know, like I said, I retired from stand-up back in 2007. I got burnt out of just doing the same routine, doing the road, all these different things. And improv was always my first love. And I think it's because it's different every time. Every time you step on stage, you have no idea what the audience is going to say, what they're going to be like, who you're going to perform with, what the suggestion is going to be, what's going to be said. It's just literally, I like to always say improvisers are professional amateurs, because every time you step on stage, it's the first time you're doing it. And so I don't know, I never thought of it not being fun. Because if I look at it this way, improv is just make-believe for adults. I'm just like a little kid playing make-believe. You know, whoever I'm pretending to be in a scene, it's just like a little kid playing house or doctor, or like I'm a Jedi or whatever. It's just, that's all it is.
And what is the rush that comes from, you know, it being improvised and it's off the top of your head, and then getting that instant reaction of laughter from the audience? Because that's different than, you know, getting your type 5 and making sure that the set is perfect and polished, that you expect the laughs at a certain point, versus just riffing and it comes out.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really know. I guess I would say, like, okay, I'm kind of like contradicting what I said earlier, but in a way, it's like, I do it because I like to make people laugh, but I don't necessarily pay attention to the laughs when they come, because I mean, this is me personally. Again, I can't speak for other improvisers, but when I'm in the moment of a scene, I'm so deep into that scene and focused on who I'm with and what I'm doing and what they're saying and reacting to it, that I sometimes don't even hear or know the audience is there. Like, I'll walk off stage after a 5-minute scene or whatever, and I'll be like, what just happened? You know, and I'll be, did the audience enjoy that? I don't know. Like, I had fun, you know. So I don't know how to really answer that question. Is that?
Yeah. It's almost like what athletes go through. Like, in the middle of the play, it's hyper focused, and then there's the reaction from the crowd, whether we score a touchdown or got a base hit, or, you know. kicked a field goal or whatever.
Yeah, because I mean, there'll be times. I mean, when I'm not in the scene, I'm watching someone else perform. I'm watching the side, or I'm a spectator, or even I'm in the show, and and in my opinion, like, oh, we are not doing too good tonight. It's, it's a little rough night. Sometimes it happens. It's improv. And then at the end of the night, audiences are walking out like, that was the greatest show I've ever seen. Oh my gosh! And I'm like, what show were you watching? And so again, I think holding ourselves to a high. I hold ourselves to a higher standard, and I know what we're capable of. But I think audiences, especially improv audiences, they're very cool audiences because they know you're making everything up on the spot. That it's not scripted. You're not rehearsing this stuff. You're not, there's so many variables that come into it. I think that also helps the situation as well too. So yeah, and again, like I said, it's just fun.
You're doing something right, because I had fun when I came. Obviously, I'm bringing more friends next time I show up for a show. It's just one of those things that felt so relaxed and so familiar in how you greeted us and welcomed everybody that it was like, I gotta do a story about this place. Not only did I review the club, but I had to talk to you as well.
I'm glad.
And I noticed that you're also a fan of professional wrestling. You got a couple of my friends on the wall,
Yes.
Hollywood and Lightning from Glow, Lisa Marie Varon from formerly Victoria, WWE. She's running around still. Love her to death. She's one of the sweetest people.
She's very kind.
Burt Ward and his stories have always been interesting.
Yeah.
It would have been a very interesting time to live in the 1960s with Batman.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the connection to the love of professional wrestling with the love of improv? Is it because so many of their spots are done, as they call it, in the ring, that it has that type of connection?
Probably. I mean, just a kid growing up, in the late 70s, 80s, and that really, really good era of wrestling, and then it kind of revamped itself again in the late 90s. I got to experience all of that. So it's probably that's probably part of it, the showmanship that they all go through and all those different things. And wrestling is characters. And when we do improv, we're being characters, so there's probably that correlation that goes through there. And you're telling a story. And what's the story, whether you're telling that story of the most important 3 minutes of that person's day, or you're telling the story of the most, that half hour in the ring, I guess, would be kind of the thing you'd look at. So, yeah.
With the programs that you offer, not only just the kids programs, the teens, and as well as the adult classes, how would that vary from either other programs or allow them to express themselves? Because some places were like, oh, don't do it like this, do it like that. How do you are you teaching necessarily timing, or are you teaching them the beats of how to follow? Like, for example, you brought up vaudeville, one of the most famous acts, even though it's not necessarily vaudevillian, but it's towards the end of it, Abbott and Costello's Who's on First. They've done that a million times over, whether it was on stage or on television, but they got the timing right. And each time it's always a little bit different. It's not the exact same bit. Are you teaching timing and reaction to what's being presented to them?
Broad view, yes, absolutely. We're teaching all those things. In the more specific vein of it, and again, every instructor that we have here teaches a little bit different, and everybody comes from different improv backgrounds and different instructors, so we all have different ways how to get perhaps the same point across. But realistically, what I would say, if I had to pinpoint it, is that we're teaching people, we're giving people the skills and the tool set to be able to make the choices in the moment that is best for them, because everybody is going to react differently. When somebody says a line in an improv scene, our job is to react to that line, and based off the character that you're playing, based off of just your personal life and your views, there's so many different things. Every person's going to react differently to that. So it's not so much of us telling them, say this, don't say that, do it at this moment in time, not then. It's more like, here's what you can say, here's some options, here's here's a better option. This is probably not as good of an option, but you can still have, and just giving them the tool set to be like, you go form your own little world out there when you're performing. You find out, what works for you. And again, I'm sure you've heard this, like, in improv, it's really about, we celebrate the failure in improv, because it's a 50-50 crapshoot every single time. We're literally making it up. And every time something doesn't work, like a choice we made, well, that choice was not the best choice that I made. Now we know for next time. It's like, okay, well, that's not one of the better choices. I'll make a different choice next time. So improv is constantly learning and relearning. Like I said, I've been doing this for 27 years. I'm still learning. Every time I go on stage, every time I perform with somebody, every single time, I take away something. Every time I'm teaching, I take away something. I can watch someone brand new, day one of improv, doing something, and also be like, oh, yeah, they should never do that. That didn't improv. So, we're like, oh, that was a great choice. I never saw that before. So it's just constantly evolving and changing. So it's the tool set, not necessarily it's not like an open and shut book. It's think like a magic book that's constantly changing the ending of a story.
Got it. With the classes after they finish, is there a performance to either a general audience or just their friends and family that watch them see their evolution from day one to a graduation ceremony?
We do. At the end of every one of our classes, not the drop-in classes, but like our 8-week-long classes, we have a student showcase. Like we had one last night. It was our Improv 201 class. And it's open to the general public, but also friends and family, whoever they invite. So yeah, we want them to showcase. We want them to be celebrated for the classes they're taking and show off what they've been learning and stuff too. So yeah.
And so with the showcases like that, it can be anxious at times. So how do you calm their nerves, especially when the level 1 class is finishing their very first 8 weeks of improv? And by the way, here's 40 people that either you know or don't know that are going to watch you do this.
Yeah. I mean, every person's different. Some people, they love it, and you got other people who are just like freaking out. And like I say, before the show, and that's kind of on the director of the show too. Is our job is preparing them for that moment to be on stage, to again giving that tool set. That yes, we know you're nervous, but you know the skills, you know what you're supposed to do. Now it's up to you to implement what we've taught you to go do. But before the shows, we do warm up exercises. We some bonding stuff, give every loosey goosey kind of out of their heads and really more into the moment, focused on the other people that you're working with as opposed to what's going on with you internally. We try to externalize it with everybody else.
Devin, before I let you go, because we've been chatting for almost half an hour, and I know we could talk for hours on end doing this, and especially next time I come to a show. What's the one thing you want the audience to get, not only from what's going on stage, but what's happening in the crowd with us?
Wow, that's a good question. I really, at the end of the day, as you're walking out the door, or you come in, I really just want people to have enjoyed their experience. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but it really is. I want people to enjoy their experience and be like, I need to come back here and I need to tell other people, because that means we did our job. We as putting on a show, because it's really about, again, their experience. Because we're having fun up there, even when we're dying miserably in a scene, we're still enjoying that. Yeah, it's not working, we're having fun. But people are taking the time to get out of their house, hop in their car, drive through traffic, find parking, come in, pay their cover charge, sit down. We owe it to them to have a fun time while they're here, and make all the crap they had to go through to get to that point worth it. And not only worth it, but make them glad they went through whatever they went through.
I love it. Let's find out where the website is and where we can find you on social media so we can connect and get tickets for the shows.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have a website. It's www.improvcityonline.com. All of our ticket information's on there for future shows, all the different stuff, class registration's all on there. We are on social media. It's just at Improv City, all one word, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. So you can follow us all on there. All of our, we also have through our email list. You can go to our website, sign up. We send one email a month, let you know about special guests we have coming, about special shows we have coming up, all different stuff. We don't spam. We literally send one email per month. So yeah, please give us a follow, give us a like, all that different stuff.
Perfect. Devin Dugan, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to Improv City here in Tustin, California.